por favor. Yes, welcome to Golden Goal TV. Happy New Year, everyone. Yes, we are back with a Premier League preview show. 2 derbies to go. We will also be giving you live updates from Aston Villa versus Leeds United. And it's going to be an interesting show because it's already Aston Villa 1, Leeds 0 with the Leon Bailey goal. So how many goals more we'll have? Well, we will find out very soon. But yes, we've got a panel. We've got games to talk about. And we've got a whole calendar year of content, hopefully. Anyway, let's go.
Fitting way to do so. Can it's him. Back to Balotelli. It runs for Aguero. They've done it!
Hazard still on the ground as Charlie Adam goes for goal here. Oh, and he scored!
And was by Stones. Andrew Townsend! A field a minute. And Aaron Ramsey starts and ends. An immaculate. Trying to find a way through.
Yes, goals plenty there. And yes, it is Friday, the 13th of January. So let's hope we won't have a shutdown of any kind or no one will invade the show. So, yes, welcome back, everybody. Hope we've had a lovely break. We are back with Golden Goal TV. We will put out as much content as we can for you this year, hopefully. Let's get on, first of all, with the show, then. Let's introduce you to the panel. We do have a producer, but today he won't be talking. So, yes, Sam is there. He's running this show. He's the reason the show is running, so it's all good, but he will not be joining in. But I'm sure he will probably put something in the comments, and he'll be operating comments, so you will be able to see comments on the screen for any visually impaired users watching. We will attempt to somehow. So yeah, let's go. Let's get on with the panel first. Happy New Year, Abdi.
It is a happy new year. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, so good. Great start for United since the World Cup break returned. Very good start. Let's
carrying on the momentum, my friend. Carrying on the momentum into a very big 3-point game tomorrow. Big weekend of action.
I didn't realize we're playing Southampton tomorrow. Oh, okay. Not on that.
Now we'll be playing them in February. But yes,
they don't do a third place playoff in the League Cup final, do they?
No.
Back also on the show, another team in mainly good form. Yes, Nick, how's it going?
Going very well, thank you, Hubert. Newcastle, since the restart, the okay form. Was disappointed with the FA Cup. We lost in that, but getting through to 7th of the League Cup was quite good. And Southampton over 2 legs. I think Newcastle could do it, especially with second leg at home, and I think we'll get to the final.
2-legged finals, eh? Well, we still have them. Right, let's us get on.
Before we quickly start, Matt has popped in the chat and he said hello to you all. So hello to you, Matt.
Happy New Year, Matt. Happy New Year. Hope you're all good. Thank you very much for watching, joining. Feel free to put in your predictions as we talk about the games. Obviously, and react to anything else you see going on if you're watching the Villa game and the Leeds game. So let's kick off with the first game then, and we might as well start with a 6-pointer of a match, Abdi. So Manchester United host Manchester City tomorrow at a civilized time of 12:30. What do you think's gonna go? Come on, what's your view on this? I mean, Man United, very good form. Man City, yeah, they're going, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
So this is the test for United in terms of where they are. Sort of, we all know what happened last time out. They dismantled us pretty much. I feel like this. It could be famous last words. I don't think it's going to happen like that again. In terms of one, we're at home. Two, still early days back then, and we weren't in this sort of run yet, like rhythm. In terms of we were in terms of before the international break, but it was just straight after the international break and people coming together. But also we were poor that day, and it just didn't work out. And hopefully we learn a lesson from it, and we make full use of that hiding that we got, and actually do something about it and try and get a measure of revenge and get the 3 points. At the moment, we're 4 points behind City, I believe, and if we beat them, go 1 point behind them. Who would have said for United to still be within touching distance of City and keeping that gap as small as possible? Because over the last few seasons, it's not been as close as we've wanted it to be. It's just unfortunate, but with the way things are going on Eric Ten Hag this season, it's looking positive, and going into the weekend with a positive outlook. Hopefully, they can't. The breaks don't come to a screeching halt on that one. But yes, hoping for a big result tomorrow.
Big result. Hoping Abdi. Nick, what do you think of the Manchester derby? Do you think that's if Man City have to get themselves into shape in any game, it has to be this one, surely?
Well, I think it's going to be it's not going to be like the reverse fixture at the Etihad. I don't think Man United will be hammered like the last time they played each other. I think it will be much tighter because normally form goes out the window. I know Man United are in good form, but it's derby and form normally goes out the window. So I could see it be much tighter match. I could see it be either draw or win by one goal swing either way. I think Man United are playing really well with the forward line they have, and the fact they're playing at home might help. They'll have the fans backing them, so that could swing it that way. So I think I'm gonna favour a draw, but I won't be surprised if Man United get another win and carry on the good form.
Well, I have to say, looking at this game, I mean, I was talking to a friend recently about this, and I kind of said, usually, it's you kind of think it's but the form Man City have been on and the form Man United have been on in the last few seasons, you kind of would think, yeah, Man City will probably win this. But I have to say, when it comes to tomorrow, Man City winning it is not what I'm seeing. It's not going to be a runaway win for Man United, but I think Man United will still win it.
I don't like this amount of people trying to back us tomorrow.
I think Man United
doesn't
will
give me
edge
confidence.
It will. They will edge it.
I hope so.
I'm thinking 2-1 Man United tomorrow. It's going to be a tight affair, I think.
Yeah. We are coming into that. Martial has an injury doubt. Has to be assessed tomorrow. So
I mean, the biggest injury for you is surely Donny van de Beek. I mean, that's huge.
Donny van de Beek is season ender. He was more of a squad player, but it is unfortunate. He wouldn't have been really involved in this game, but it is unfortunate. And hopefully he recovers and comes back 100% ready for the start of next season. Hopefully, if he is still part of the team and he doesn't get moved on in the summer, hopefully he has a bright future with us, because it hasn't been easy for him over the last couple of years with us. So I do feel bad for him on that front.
The poor man's not that easy.
Yeah, for City, they haven't been the strongest. Well, they've still been doing what they're doing, but
They've not
from
been
like
that
last
convincing
season, yeah, from last
in the
season,
last few games as well, especially if you look at,
yeah,
sure they beat Chelsea in the FA Cup, but I'm
didn't beat
sure
Chelsea in the league. They drew
I'm
to
sure
Everton at
Marine can
home.
beat Chelsea at the moment, and of course they lost to
I
Southampton
don't
by.
worry, we'll get to you guys in a little bit.
Oh, we don't worry, we'll. But yeah, no,
Uh,
I go on.
yeah, go on.
I usually say, I usually pick the best result that goes for Chelsea, but as long as Everton, Wolves, and Southampton don't win, I think Chelsea will be all right. So now I'm going to go for Man United here, 2-1 for that one. I think you can edge it. I think you can. Genuinely think so.
I think we can too, but I feel like a draw could be on the cards as well. I think that's a real
Yeah,
possibility as well.
I wouldn't
But
rule that out.
I just want the 3 points. I really want the 3 points.
I think that's what you really need because to carry on that momentum, I think 3 points would be ideal, and then that will put you 1 point behind Man City.
Yeah,
In a
and
very
then
good position.
Wednesday we can go past them. But
Mm.
to be fair, we'll have a game over them at that point. But yeah, we just want to game by game move
That's
forward,
the best way to take it.
focus on City, and then afterwards we see where we go from there.
Mm.
But hopefully we come out with 3 points in the bag. Rashford, red hot form, 7 goals in 6 games.
Fred, great as always.
Fred, Fred, he was very good the other night. Probably the best player on the pitch at that point. But yeah, he almost scored a cracking free kick, and I would have loved it to go into him, but it was unfortunate. But yeah, no, Freddie.
Oh, if you want to discuss the show in the WhatsApp group, I'm also keeping an eye on that as well as the score. So if you would rather comment in the WhatsApp group while you're watching the show, feel free to do so as well. Which will be another avenue for people to comment if you find that easier. Right. We will move on to the next game. And actually, this one, you've got Brighton versus Liverpool. So you've got an interesting one because you've got Wolves but Liverpool, Wolves later. Liverpool who are struggling at the moment, to say the least. I mean, they got beat by Brentford. Wolves taking them to a replay. That's why I keep saying Wolves. And then you've got Brighton and Abdi. And this is an interesting one with Trossard, because I think you've posted something which got people talking, even though I don't really think there's much in this. But, Trossard has taken the Eurostar.
He's taken the Eurostar and he's skipped town, basically, gone to Belgium. He released a statement as well saying that he wants to leave, apparently, and change clubs. The team that was mainly linked with him was Spurs. If you want to go from Brighton to Spurs, then sort of thing. No disrespect to Spurs, but you're doing very well at Brighton.
And Brighton at the moment are not doing
flying.
too badly. They're
flying.
Why wouldn't you want to play there at the moment?
I mean, Spurs technically are in the they are in the Champions League. For now, at least. Who knows? They might make a push for a top 4 spot there. I wouldn't rule them out of it. I think it's unlikely that they'll end up there, but at the same time, I wouldn't rule them out. I wouldn't rule most teams out, unfortunately, except for Chelsea. I'm sorry, my friend. But
we're 10th. I'm not expecting much.
Yeah. It's an odd one. I thought Trossard would have handled it with a bit more dignity. I thought he would have still wanted to play for the club and
I was a bit surprised about that.
Yeah, see what happens. I didn't think he'd just be like, "Oh yeah, I'm out. I'm just gonna dip." It's an odd one, but I think the Zerbi's handled it in a good way in terms of he was like, if your head's not focused and you're not focused solely on Brighton, then afterwards, I'm not going to play you. You're not going to be part of my squad. I don't care.
Well, no, there's no point keeping a player if their heart's not in the club. Then there's no point to. We've discussed this many times with bigger clubs, and this, same goes for any club.
Liverpool's a big game. Liverpool's a big game for them as well. So like, he was the one. Remember, he was the one who scored a hat trick against at Anfield against them. So yeah, in the Zerbi's first game. So it's a big call to drop him, but at the same time, it's probably the right call in terms of, as I said, if his head's not in it and his heart's not in it, he's not. How do you know he's going to give it his all for the team. So
Absolutely.
yeah, they're doing well anyway in terms of they've got Matoma, they've got McAllister back.
I
So
think that's a big regain for them, McAllister. That's a big return for them. I think they definitely needed that.
great goal in the FA Cup as well. The way they're playing, absolutely dismantled Borough. But yeah, Liverpool, their form has been really weird. Them, I don't know. Their season's just been sort of down, and they'll come up a little bit, and then down, and then up a little bit, and then just down. It's like up and down pretty much. As I said, I'm not ruling them out of the title, not title race, top four race. They wish they were in a title race.
Odd, right?
Yeah, top four race. I'm not ruling them out of that as well because they could pretty much just flick a switch and
They're
do
close
something
enough.
crazy. Yeah,
Pick up in
Yeah.
form would fix it, but it's whether that
exactly.
would happen.
But Brighton away is going to be a very challenging place for them to go. It's not going to be easy with the way Brighton are playing and the way Liverpool are in their sort of headspace. You know, they got taken apart by Brentford, absolutely bullied. Brentford's not a fun place to go. Just
Mm.
ask us. We had the same thing
What
early
happened
in the season.
Can you remind us?
My friend, they came to your house and dismantled you as well. Let's not go there as well. Come on.
Not what did they?
4-1 at the bridge.
That was last season.
Yeah, still, it was
I'm talking
2022.
this season. This season, what happened?
This season. What happened this season? I actually don't remember what happened this season between
We
the two.
drew 0-0 with Brentford. What happened with you?
Okay.
We lost
Well,
4-0.
fair play.
Oh,
fair
thank
play.
you, Nick. Thank you. Yeah,
Fair
definitely.
play. If you drew 0-0, okay. Well, if you came up against them now, was that at home or away?
That was at Brentford.
Well, that's yeah. I think it
Is
was
that Brentford?
yeah, I think so.
Don't worry, it doesn't matter if it's home or away. They'll probably come to your house and do the same thing. They no, but Liverpool, they need to be careful as well. Brighton could be a team that will take them part as well. Not in the same way where it was physical for in terms of Brentford, the way they're pumping the ball into the box and bullying them on set pieces. But yeah, Liverpool, as I said, just need to be careful.
Well, Liverpool need to be careful. Nick, I mean, what's your thoughts? I mean, when it comes to Liverpool, they need to be picking up speed here. I mean, they've got players that are Salah's really not doing it this season. Darwin Nunez, or Nunez as people call him, I think that's his pronunciation corrected there. He's a good player long term, but he's not delivering much this season.
Timo Nunez.
Yeah, what's gonna happen, Nick? What's your thoughts on this game?
Well, it depends how. Well, you can't really know. I don't really know what to do, what to make Liverpool, because some games this season they've been really good, and other games they've been absolutely atrocious. Darwin, when he's played, he's had loads of chances, but he's just not been clinical. Salah has been scoring goals, but not as much as last season. And then defensively, they've been all over the place at times.
Yeah, that's another one as well.
With injuries and all that. So it'll be interesting to see how they, if they're fit, I think Darwin, Salah and Gakpo will probably be the front three with Henderson, Thiago, Fabinho. And then
Darwin's an injury doubt.
And then I think back four probably be Matic, Quartes, Robertson, Trent, Allison.
Quartes? Who's Quartes?
I was gonna say, who's he?
The French. It's a Konate.
Youngster? Oh, Konate.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it'll be him and Matic.
Okay.
Because Van Dijk's injured.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Well, it's an interesting one.
I think if Liverpool can win, but they need to get a run going, because if they're not careful, the gap to fourth could widen, and they might not be able to bridge it.
It's a tricky one for Liverpool. I'd say, looking at it, I mean, you never know who Liverpool will pick up points against, because at the moment every game seems to be very different. You know, they had the Brentford game where they were absolutely destroyed. You know, they've had then the FA Cup, which they clearly run out of money to pay the referees to win, but it's an interesting one. And when it comes to Brighton, Trossard is a valuable player. That's not to say that Brighton don't have any other good players, because Trossard has been pretty quiet for Brighton recently, even when he did play. So it would be quite funny, really, in the game if Brighton got something out of this one. So I'm going to go 2-2 for 2-2 draw for that.
I'm actually gonna give it in favour of Brighton. I'm gonna say 2-1 Brighton.
Nick, what would you say score prediction?
I'm gonna go. Well, I'll go. I'm gonna say 2-0 to Liverpool, just because fantasy wise.
Yeah, of course. No, that's the priority for you. Nick, by the way, you'll be happy with this. Just quickly going off topic here. Michael Smith has beaten Goen Price in the Bahrain Darts Masters final. Excellent, fantastic. Right, back on topic here. As I said, comments please either on the YouTube channel or in the WhatsApp group if you want to, as we've read out from Luke, the darts update. So please put comments anywhere you can, and we will get to them as soon as possibly can. Right, moving on to the next game then. Now, this one, I wasn't sure whether to include it, but it is basically, it's one of these things, one of these weekends this week where top sides play against each other and bottom sides too, because we've got Everton. Yeah. Everton really quite struggling at the moment. They made City drop points, but in general, they are struggling under Frank Lampard, versus Southampton, who at the moment, I'm sure, are probably still on cloud 9. Abdi, Everton, Southampton. Now, who's taking this one?
Before I start, so the funny thing is, as you said, the top sides are facing each other. Literally, the top 8 are all facing against each other, and the bottom 4 are all facing against each other. So it's a big weekend in terms of making a statement, really, and trying to shake things up, because there's going to be people around you who's dropping points and opportunities for you to gain points. So this is a big opportunity for both Everton and Southampton. Southampton to start really trying to, if they want to get out of the relegation zone, keep moving. Big win against City in the cup. I don't think anyone really gave them a chance of the way they were going in terms of their form and the way they've been performing, and the way the fans are feeling towards Nathan Jones at the moment, in terms of booing him and saying get out and all that, and you don't know what you're doing, or something along those lines. But this is a big opportunity for Southampton and a big opportunity for Everton as well. If both sides really want to kick on and try and move away, but Everton, good win, good draw away to City. They have that within them, but Southampton's, you're going to have to sort of play. You can't really, at home especially, you can't just sit back and just be like, yeah, we're just going to sit back. No, you need to try and go at them, try and go get the goals, get the points, and move along. You need to keep doing that. I know it's basics and simple stuff, but that's the gist of things at the end of the day. Everton, they FA Cup dumped out by United. They were decent in that, to be fair. They weren't too bad. Like, they had opportunities, but it didn't work out in the end. They did cause us a few problems. Damari Gray could be someone as an outlet for Everton. What ironically won the goal of the month against City for December, November time. So they've got tools in their locker, but it's just trying to get out of that funk. You know, they were in this sort of sticky situation last season, and the fans sort of accepted it. But there's still turmoil in terms of on the pitch. The fans aren't happy with the players. They're not happy with the board. Kind of reminds you of United sort of last season, but at the same time, I think for Everton, it's kind of worse in the sense that they're lower down the table. It's not as easy for them to just go buy players that are top quality and try and bring them in to try and fix stuff, you know. So Frank Lampard, he has a big job on his hands trying to do this again for the second time in a row. So I don't know how long he'll have left. His head is sort of leaning ever so closer every time towards the chopping block. But even if he goes, who do they bring in? There are bigger problems than Frank Lampard at that club. So, and I think Everton fans will agree on that front. But for tomorrow, I feel like Southampton's momentum could carry them 2-3 points, but I just feel like the way things are going for both teams, I think a draw would be the fairest result between them.
Okay, draw. You're saying Abdi Nick. I mean, when it comes to Everton, I mean Southampton. Yeah, we said cloud 9 and all that, but Everton don't really have any cloud 9 to hang on to. Everton don't have much to hang on to at the moment. Frank Lampard, I've heard fans going, sack Frank Lampard. He's not the right manager. Bring in Sam Allardyce.
Sam Allardyce.
It's not going to really work like that. To be honest, what do you think of the game? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Southampton have the momentum, or do you think Everton can get themselves sticky toffee situation?
I think there are more. I think it's more problematic. That I don't think sacking Lampard is the solution. I think it's the above him that's the problem. But I think Iwobi's injury is not going to help them. There are players there that can cause Southampton problems with Calvin Lewin and Demarai Gray, but I think with Southampton, the way they played, if they played like they did against Man City, and they put in the same performance as they did, I'm gonna say Southampton are gonna win it. Based with fact, it's Everton at home, and they're gonna have to come out on the front foot, and Southampton could cause them problems with the pace they have up front, and they could cause them problems with set pieces with delivery of Ward-Prowse. So I could see Everton fans turning on them. So I'm going to say Southampton are going to win 2-1.
My question about Southampton, and it's a question that I think is fair to ask realistically as a Southampton fan or even as a neutral here. When I was watching Southampton, now granted, Man City played their reserves in a way, although some players were still there. I mean, Haaland or Ricky Lambert, as fans called him. He was there. But realistically here, the form they put out in the League Cup, I think a lot of people will be asking why they can't bring that form out in the league. And I think that's a fair question to ask. And I think if they don't produce that form, then their table position says what will happen to them, really. So for me, Southampton, they have the momentum, but it's whether they'll have the energy and whether they will be, ready and on point to do it. I think a draw would be a fair result because it's tricky for me to split these teams apart. On league form alone, you can't really tell who's going to win that. I'm personally going to go 1-1 between Everton and Southampton. I don't know. I struggle to pick these teams apart because, Southampton have not produced the form in the league that they did in the League Cup, and that's what they need to do, but they haven't done that. Will they do it now? Well, I guess it's tomorrow for us to find out really what's going to happen with that, and it's Southampton needed. They're rock bottom. Everton aren't far off, but, both teams could say, desperately need the win. Right. We move on to the next game. Now, the reverse fixture. That ended very badly for Forest. It's the Robin Hood derby. It's Nottingham Forest versus Leicester. Nick, will they be singing Leicester get battered everywhere they go? Or will it be Forest getting that treatment?
Was it not? Well, funny enough, the reverse fixture was on the opening night of the World Grand Prix darts when Leicester won 4-0, and they were singing Forest get battered everywhere they go, which was quite amusing. But I think Forest have improved since they last played, and Leicester have not impressed since they came back to the World Cup, they've not played very well. They haven't not scored many goals, and they can't defend. And the old problems with the set pieces defending has emerged again. So, Forest they won the last league game. They won midweek League Cup. They're starting to get some good form together. So, I fancy Forest here. And but I'm going to say 2-0 Forest because that's what I said on Super 6 prediction. So Forest have got some good players gelling together. Finally got the squads gelling well together after making so many signings in the summer. I think it's all coming together nicely for them.
That's quite interesting, actually. Abdi, what do you think? I don't know if that game is such. Yeah, I don't know if that's 2-0 prediction seems quite an easy win for Forest, but I'm not so convinced. What do you think?
I mean, you can have a 2-0 win and not be convincing. You could just hit them with a quick 2-punch and just be like bang bang, even though it's a close game. And the scoreline can flatter the winning side. But I agree with Nick in the sense that I think Forest will edge this one in terms of they are the home team. Their fans will be behind them, and I think they'll be up for it because it's a derby and it's their rivals, and they want to sort of right the wrongs with that 4-0 defeat as well. And Forest are doing well for themselves. They had a good win against Wolves, but it was, to be fair, it was a penalty shootout. Good draw against you guys at home. That they tend to be okay in terms of that. It's their away form that really gets them down as well. But when they're at home, you know, they that's where they tend to pick up their big results. So I'm gonna edge it to Forest on this one.
I think I wouldn't say it's impossible for Forest to win because Leicester have not exactly been in the flying form, you could say. They had that game against Liverpool over Christmas and New Year with two own goals, which just embarrassing. Really.
Yeah, I'm convinced that was an agent working against them. That was a scouser in disguise, match fixing, if you will.
Sounds
Allegedly, don't come for me, please.
Yeah, we can't confirm that yet. Anyway, so yeah, I fancy this to be a win for Forest myself. I don't think it's going to be straightforward, but I think it's going to be a 1-0 to Forest. I'd say for that one. I think both teams can have a good game if they really try, but equally both teams can equally have a horror show. It's another one where I don't think it's as easy to pick that game, to be honest. But yeah, City,
I know.
City ground, fans behind them. I think Forest might just have the edge. What were you going to say, Abdi?
I was gonna say I know it was a FA Cup game and the teams are completely different. But last time Leicester went there, you know, the Forest are pretty much all over them. They took them apart pretty much in terms of it was a 3-1 win,
true.
I think. So
no, I think it was 4-1.
4-1.
Was it 4-1? Even yeah.
And it was very quick for Forest to get a good score ahead. I think they went 4-0 or 3-0 up quite quickly as well.
It was it was an entertaining match. But to be fair, different squad. Forest changed quite a lot. Still trying to look for signings as well and trying to stabilize. Mad team, but at the same time, they are trying to adjust with that amount of players. I feel like if Forest do manage to survive, that would be beneficial for them in terms of they can stabilize, figure out what their best team is of all the players they have, and sort themselves out. If they want to make any further additions to an already massive squad, then yeah, they could do that, I guess. But yeah, win for Forest to me.
Remains to see what happens in the Robin Hood Derby. Right, we move on to the next fixture. We're on to Sunday games now. Right, we've got Chelsea versus Palace. Now,
you want to start us off, Hubert?
I'll start this off. Of course, I will. So yeah, we had the Fulham game. João Felix, great signing, fantastic player. Already made an impact, literally and figuratively. I've had debate with someone at work told me that he can be an amazing player if he can keep his feet on the ground. So maybe remains to be seen if João Costa is going to be any good. But yeah, I've had enough rants about that in the WhatsApp group, as some of you may have heard. But yes, I was chatting to Palace fan yesterday about this game, and I think they said, both our teams are crap, so it's not good. This game's got either a 1-0 win to Chelsea written all over it, or a 1-1 draw.
No
Both
Palace
teams.
win?
Well, I don't think they expected a Palace win, which I don't know. I wouldn't rule Palace win out at the moment. Both of these teams aren't doing well, and both of these teams technically need that win. I think Chelsea need that win more, but that's what a lot of other fans would say, because of Chelsea's status. I don't personally think. I think both teams need to get 3 points anyway, but
they do. But you do need it a little bit more in terms
we do
of
need it a little
the
bit
way
more.
you are free falling at the moment, and you need that win to sort of
Yes, we are
stabilize.
doing a Tom Petty basically, or a Richarlison. But this game is going to be boring, isn't it? It's a Sunday 2:00 game. They're not often thrilling. Chelsea need this win. We've got injuries all over. I think we got one added yesterday from what I've seen.
Yeah, Zakari is out.
Yeah, he's out. So that's another casualty. No sign of return for others just yet. João Felix is now suspended. Thank you for that.
For 3 games.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see this. I'm gonna say that will be, to me, that has 0-0 written all over it, to be honest. And that's if we're lucky. So I wouldn't rule out a Palace win 1-0 or a Chelsea 1-0 win, but I'm gonna go for 0-0. And the way we're going, that'll be like that 1 point will be like 3 points for us. To be fair. So yeah, we'll get your take on it, Abdi. What do you think?
Where to begin, really? Chelsea, I know a lot of your fans are saying they want Potter gone. They don't think he's the right man. They think the job's too big for him. Maybe he isn't the right man. Maybe the job is too big for him. But what do you expect him to do in terms of when you have come in the middle of the season? All the transfers were already done for the team in terms of for a different manager, and then that manager gets sacked. Potter comes in, all of his staff comes in, all of the people that surrounded him at Brighton come in, pretty much, basically just now all of Brighton, and the new ownership, Todd Bowley, was just like, "That's my manager. I'm backing you. I believe in you. You're my guy." Whereas the Chelsea fans, they're more into what Roman was doing in terms of the hiring and firing approach, in terms of you're here for a short-term basis, get as much success as you can, and then if you don't, you're gone. Potter, firstly, I don't think he'd ever get the job in terms of if Roman's still the manager, because I think it probably might have still been Tuchel, but at the same time, if Roman was still in charge, Potter would have been probably gone a while ago, a few games back. It is a big job to take on. It's still new ownership, still trying to figure out what they're doing. I don't think it helped that Todd Bowley made himself the sporting director and just basically spaffed 300 million up the wall in terms of going, "I'm gonna go get you, I'm gonna go get you, I'm gonna go get you." I'm scrolling through Twitter. Oh, Arsenal linked to this player, I'm gonna go get him. Man United linked to this player, I'm gonna go get him. Spurs, gonna go get him, and just same old, same old, same old. It hasn't really helped in terms of what you're trying to build. I do like some of the signings you're making. I like the signings that you're making in terms of youngsters, in terms of David Datro Fofana, Andres Santos, that goalkeeper, Selena.
Yeah, I think that's
can't pronounce his name. And like Mari Hutchinson, Carney Chukwuemeka, you are making good signings for the future and actually try and invest in your youth. But then again, the signings that you're making around it, are they really working? You spent 80 odd million on an injury-prone Fofana that probably wasn't scouted, probably, because if you saw the injury record he had in terms of the injuries he had over the last few seasons, you shouldn't be investing that kind of money in a player like that. But you got Badiashile from Monaco now. Koulibaly came in from Napoli. Fair play. It's still a good player, but it hasn't really up and down for him. It. I feel like Chelsea are trying to do a lot at the same time and trying just. They're going for a bit of an identity crisis at the moment, and trying to figure out what they are, who they are, and what they're trying to be. I feel like this season, pretty much you can forget about top fours. Very, 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 very unlikely. There's always the odd chance that you just do something, it just clicks, but I doubt it in terms of the mentality going
Plus
through the
also
squad right
require
now.
other
And
teams to drop a lot of points.
yes, it would. Yeah, and it would
The more
be a
this
very
carries on, the more points other teams will have to drop for us to
exactly,
do something.
exactly. It's a tough season. So you're already out of the FA Cup, out of the Carabao Cup. Champions League is against Dortmund. I don't see your chances, and you might get past Dortmund, but I don't see your chances of winning the Champions League. That's probably the only thing that can salvage a season like this, if you somehow manage to win Champions League.
That would be a miracle considering.
It would. Um, but yeah, you just need to start and build from next season. If Potter is truly the guy that the board are backing, then let him go to the summer, let him have a preseason, bring in the players that he wants, get rid of the players that he doesn't want, and actually back him. Because some of these signings, I don't know, they just feel like they come out of the blue. Like the Enzo Fernandez thing felt like just because United were linked with him, felt like we're gonna go aggressively.
Enzo move just seemed basically like the João Felix move, basically throw money at someone really good and hope they'll fix the problem.
And they wanted to trigger the 120 million release clause. Well, they were planning to go higher than that and negotiate it, but apparently they only went for about 85 million or something. Whereas they know the price. I'm glad that he didn't go to you, because I just felt it would have been. It is also stupid on Chelsea's part in terms of their scouting if they didn't pick up the fact that Enzo Fernandez just moved to Benfica for what, 17 million euros, 16 million, something very tiny, and then they're going to spaff 120 million. Give him at least a year to be there. I know he just won the World Cup as well.
It is. That's the
It
typical
is.
Chelsea approach that has not changed for now under Todd Bowley's ownership.
It hasn't, but yeah, you just need to sort of focus on figure out what your vision is, what your aim is, what you want to do, because you've invested a lot in terms of bringing across Potter's staff and everyone that was working around him and trying to build that structure, because that structure isn't in place yet, that football structure in terms of director football, and they're building it now. It's there now, but it's still relatively new. So as for the game, because we need to go back to the game, 8 games, 6 losses, and 1 draw and 1 win. Yeah, that's horrendous form. But I do see you pulling out a win to somehow, some way, and getting the 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see about that. Before we go to you, Nick, I'll just quickly give one point about Graham Potter. You're right over there, Abdi. You want some water?
I'm all right, yeah.
Here's a drink. One point I will say about Graham Potter before we move on to Nick's prediction. I think Chelsea fans need to understand a few things here, which, first and foremost, Roman's not here anymore. And I think a lot of fans, especially the ones that have started supporting Chelsea when Abramovich took over and Chelsea started winning things, I think a lot of these fans can't seem to understand that the Roman era is very much ended. You know, that's not here anymore. That things are going to change, and that change may not be positive straight away, but Chelsea fans need to get used to the fact that this will be different, that Roman will not fire a manager as soon as we lose 2 games. or lose to an opponent we on paper shouldn't be losing to. And when it comes to Graham Potter, I think it's fairly obvious what type of manager Graham Potter is. He's a manager he's a project manager. He's not a manager that's going to bring instant results. Graham Potter's at all of the clubs, Osterton, Swansea, Brighton. He is a long-term project man. As long as a club allows him to, he'll be there for long, and he'll build a project. It took him a long time to turn Brighton around, but look how he's turned them around. Now, will he do the same at Chelsea, considering it's a much different club? We don't know that. You can't tell that. However, clearly Todd Bowley knows what type of manager Graham Potter is. Presumably, he's done his research. Maybe that is the intention he has for Chelsea, a manager that can build a long-term project and in the long run, turn Chelsea into something else. Now, okay, I'm not comparing here, but, some Chelsea fans got offended that Graham Potter compared himself to Mikel Arteta here. Now, probably he isn't, but you have to look at the way he meant it. And the way I think Graham Potter meant that he's like Mikel Arteta is a long-term project man. Arteta at one point was in the dumps with Arsenal. They were 15th at one point during one season. And now they are challenging for the Premier League title. A few points clear at the top of the league. So I think Chelsea fans need to arm themselves with some patience and give Potter a chance. And if it means that we might be out of Europe for 1 or 2 seasons, financially it'll be crap. But if it provides benefits in the long term, it's a big risk to take, sure. But I think it remains to be seen. I think fans do need to be patient, is what I would say on that. Right. Nick, what do you think will happen at Chelsea Palace?
It depends. Well, Chelsea. Well, it depends who's actually going to be playing for Chelsea. Both these teams' recent form has not been very good. But I am going to side with. I'm going to side with a narrow Chelsea win here. Just feel they're going to find a way to get a positive result, and I do think if you got quite a few, probably your best players are not available due to injuries. If they were fit, I think Chelsea would probably be doing better. But I'm definitely going to. But I think somehow Chelsea are going to get the win over the line. I don't know, by some form. And I think Graham Potter will eventually turn around, but I do think he needs time to work on it.
Chelsea to get a win over the line? Well, we shall see. We'll stick with you, though, Nick, because the next game I want to talk about is Newcastle versus Fulham here. So, Fulham flying high, certainly not doing what Fulham usually have done for the last few seasons where they've gone up. They are this time looking to stay up.
I said it.
Abdi's ego. Can you decrease your ego a bit, Abdi? You're feeling
I'm
this.
sorry.
I think that's better. Yes. Newcastle, well, flying high as well. Nick, I'm not expecting you to say Newcastle will lose. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, this is going to be a very interesting game because Newcastle, the last 2 league games they've drawn, and then they had mixed fortune in the cup matches recently, losing the FA Cup but winning in the League Cup. Newcastle haven't lost at home this season. Fulham will have Mitrovic back as he was from his suspension, so it'll be quite interesting. I do think they have got a. I think Fulham approach this time under Marcus Hill, but I think they got it right. I think they recruited better than previous seasons. When they were in the Premier League, they just they threw money at it and they bought the wrong players, but they've been quite smart with the recruitment with Palima and William Pereira, Andres Pereira as well. Those 3 players they signed have been very good. Newcastle, I think defensively we're very, very solid.
Not just solid, the best damn defense in the league.
Yeah, it's the best defense in the league. We've got then midfield is with the pace and power of Joe Willock and Joe Linton, creating chances for Mika Almiron, who's in his best form ever for Newcastle. Callum Wilson. So I'm pretty confident. I think Newcastle are going to win 2-0. My one concern is that Fabian Schär and Kieran Trippier need to be careful in this match, because if either of them are yellow carded, they will be suspended for the Palace game. But I am going to say Newcastle to march on with another 3 points.
3 points for the Magpies. Abdi, what you going with? What you think?
Yeah, they have been a bit of odd, like up and down form. To be fair, the last couple games. Who's? I'm trying to think of the other game that you drew before the Arsenal game.
It was
What?
Leeds.
Yeah,
Was that at Leeds at home? Yeah, it was at home. Yeah. Yeah, and then the FA Cup exit was Sheffield United away, Wednesday away. So how I see this game, Newcastle, brilliant season. I've said it time and time again. They're doing well. Their defense, what Eddie Howe's done, just built a rock. As I said, the best defense in the league, 10 clean sheets, I believe. Yeah, Fulham, they're doing well for themselves as well, having a very great season. I don't think anyone expected them to be this high. Up in the table, they're sixth after yesterday's win, I believe. They've gone above Liverpool. So
yeah, they're sixth, but
who knows?
Played 2 games more than Liverpool.
Okay, yeah, true. Who knows? They might make a European charge in their own right in terms of maybe a Conference League spot, maybe a Europa League spot. Who knows? I'm say Champions League is a bit of a stretch. But it's not a stretch for Newcastle, and I think Newcastle will pick up the 3 points in this game. I feel like they have that solidity at the back where I feel like they can hold out Mitrovic. Even if they don't, I still think they'll find a way in terms of going to St. James Park now is a very tough place to go. They've made it their own. They've made it a fortress. And yeah, they need to just avoid a draw, because if they draw, then yeah, I would rather them drop as many points as they can, so then we can go above them. But yeah, I'm gonna edge it to Newcastle and say Newcastle are gonna win.
So Newcastle win, it seems, all round. Okay, right. What with this?
Half time in the Villa Leeds game, by the way, 1-0.
1-0 to Villa still. We seem to have jinxed it when I said at the beginning we don't know how many goals we're going to get in this game.
Just the one.
Yeah, seems just the one for now. I mean, after Fulham beating us, I'd like Newcastle to beat them, quite frankly. But fantasy-wise, we do have players in both teams, so yeah, see what happens on that one. I
just need a clean sheet. That's all I care about.
Yeah,
I couldn't care if they win or lose. Just draw pretty much 0-0.
Yeah,
I'd be ideal.
I've got Mitrovic though, so you never know. I've got Mitrovic, but I do also have Bruno Guimaraes, who's not. Yeah, I'm gonna say Newcastle win, but again, I don't think it's gonna be. It's not gonna be massive, but I think 2-0 win for Newcastle is a fairly realistic prediction. Maybe even 3-1. So I'd say probably it's a Newcastle win as well. Now then, we have producer Sam is probably was probably waiting for us to start talking about this. Arsenal, well, Tottenham versus Arsenal, Sunday, 4:30 at the very uniquely, creatively called Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Abdi.
Hello.
Can you see can you see an upset in that, or do you think it's
What is an upset in this game? It's a North London derby. Because for me, if you'd said this to me any time other than this season, could you see an upset? The upset would be Arsenal winning, not Tottenham winning.
well, yes.
That's the upset. Because both of these teams, their home forms in terms of the North London derby, is just going to the other team just seems to not be capable of handling the situation. Like the other team will just grow into like a mammoth animal and just either tear them apart, or it would be a tasty clash where it could be a draw. We haven't seen a draw in a while, so who knows? But I feel like this is the year. This is the one time, as a neutral, going into North London derby, where I'm saying the away side, i.e., Arsenal, have a very, very good chance of winning this game. Very good chance. I know some Arsenal fans will be a bit nervous about it, and there'll be some that are very confident about it. It always depends on the spectrum. Sorry, I just saw some news. I will get to that afterwards. Tottenham's form has been very up and down as well. They're second half FC. They'll come into the game, they'll come in flat, and then second half they'll wake up and they'll jam their way to a draw or a win or something. But I feel like Arsenal could take advantage of the situation Spurs are in. It's very toxic right now within that club in terms of another club who has a problem with the way things are going for them in terms of rebelling against their ownership, the board. Some might say the manager as well. They're not enamored by it at the moment, but it is what it is. But I feel like if Arsenal come out, fly out of the traps, and put down the marker, it could turn very quickly and become a very toxic environment for the Spurs players, and Arsenal could take advantage of that situation. But it is a big game for both sides either way. It always is. Don't get me wrong, Tottenham do have a chance of winning this game, but I wouldn't say it's as high as I would have usually put it at. But I will say for this one, I'm gonna edge it to the league leaders. I think they will carry on their run of games and carry on the momentum. I think they'll come away with 3 points. It's very rare for me to back the away side in these kind of games. As long as we get a win, I can sit in that game and be excited and be enjoy it fully. But if we lose our derby, then either way, I'll still try and enjoy it. But it's not going to be as fun if we lost our game.
No, I'm gonna put my take on it before we go to Nick's. I mean, level of toxicity in the North London derby, it's literally seconds away at any point. I think we all know what happens in these games and how tense and toxic they can get. Now, yeah, I agree. I think the away side has a better chance of winning this time round. That's not to say Tottenham should be underestimated, because if Harry Kane actually plays as a striker, not as a defender, probably quite likely that something will happen. Arsenal just need to avoid the repeat of last season's adventure, and if they can, which I think is more likely that they can this season compared to last, and not bottle it, I think they can win. I think they can. I'm not saying Tottenham won't do anything. I think they very much will, because I'm going to give it to Arsenal, but I'm going to say Arsenal win 4-2. I think it's going to be quite tasty. Quite a tasty game, I think. Oh, I certainly would hope so. It's always good for these games to be interesting. So it'd be nice if it's like 2-2 and then Arsenal pull away or something like that. So, yeah, that would be pretty good. That is very much my prediction, I would say. Nick, what do you think? What's your prediction? What do you think is going to happen in this game?
I think it's going to be quite toss up between the two teams, but I'm going to say Arsenal. The way they played this season, they're in better form. I've not been impressed with Tottenham, like especially a couple of games. First half they've been awful, and then second half they've been much better. Like Brentford, they should have lost, and they were lucky to get 2-2 draw. I thought, and I think Arsenal are much stronger mentally and playing as a team this season compared to last season. Because the fact they go to Brighton and win so easily,
not towards
compared to
the
last
end,
season.
but
I wouldn't
yeah,
say they won easily. I mean,
No, but
and they did up
last season
until
they
up
would
the
have
until
last
that
couple.
point, up until a certain point, maybe. But
I just got a feeling Arsenal are going to do this, so I'm probably going to say 2-0 win for Arsenal.
That's the
2-0.
thing. I go into most Arsenal games now thinking whoever the opposition, I just don't see them losing. I
No,
just don't. Not
way
not
Arsenal
at the way
are
they're
going.
going. Even if they face Man City, I still think Arsenal can beat them.
I think Arsenal
Or
have more
they
of
have
the
a good
momentum
chance.
and the team power and the team morale.
They have, yeah, they just have something about them at the moment. They have the mentality, the mindset, the mind shift from
They have
last
this thing
season.
about them which makes them terrifying to play.
It's the way they play as well. They come out flying. They absolutely come out flying. Arsenal towards the end, I'd say, is an opportunity where you could take advantage, but from the
It
get
depends
go,
how
they'll
far
come out
ahead
very
Arsenal are
aggressive.
by that point.
It depends. If you can, like Newcastle, they weather the storm for the first like 10 minutes, and then afterwards, they managed to just grow into the game a bit more. Granted, Arsenal probably should have got more out of that game in terms of there was a penalty shout, not the handball at the end, but the tug in the box. It is what it is. At the end of the day, they just got to move on, pick themselves up, dust themselves down, and all eyes on the North London derby. Big 3
Indeed.
points up for grabs, big bragging rights up for grabs. If they can do the double over Spurs on their way to a title charge, what better way is it for
What
them
better way
to
to
rub it
gain
into their
more
face?
momentum than they have already? Now,
Exactly.
Premier League chat. Yes, sure, that's what this show's about. But
I got breaking news.
Abdi, your Christmas has just arrived. I think
I got breaking news.
all of
So
your Christmases at once here. Hey, your
my
dreams
boy,
aligning.
my boy's arrived. I can't believe it. Who would have thunk it? Last year, Burnley signed the one and only Valveghorst. And I was
You
very
got
excited
desperate.
about it. I was excited for them. And I was like, that's my guy. That's my boy. I'm happy for them. Who would have thunk that 1 year later, he'd be signing for us? Granted on loan, but he'd be signing for us. And Man United officially announced that Wout Weghorst has joined United. So he wouldn't. He's not official for tomorrow, unfortunately. But he will be available for the Palace game, I presume. So if everything's okay, but I'm glad that it's been announced now. I've been waiting for that pretty much all day. I think everyone knew that this was coming. It was just a matter of time.
Abdi's just like a rival of Santa Claus, literally.
Listen. I'm gonna probably get stick for this. I know loads of people wanted João Felix. I know people wanted someone different, something else, something fancier, a bigger name. But you don't get any bigger than the 6'6" Dutchman, the Flying Dutchman, Val Weghorst. Come on, man. Come on. This is my guy. Give us a different option. We needed a number 9. This is number 9, you know? This is the number 9. That's my guy. Come on. Listen, it could either go it could either go really well, and we have a striker that we can probably purchase for probably a decent amount in the summer as a option. We won't be the main striker, obviously, next season, because we'll probably sign someone younger in the summer. But an option off the bench, a different outlet, a different way of playing, sure. But worst comes to worst, it's only 6 months, and you buy a new striker in the summer. By the way, still doesn't really matter. But either way, I'm happy. I'm excited, and yeah, yeah.
Merry Christmas, Abdi.
Val Vekhorst to score the winner at the Emirates next Sunday. You watch.
Oh,
You watch.
yeah, he said it. He said it. Merry Christmas, Abdi. Merry Christmas. Oh, yes.
Thank you very much.
Weghorst, the star signing for Manchester United.
Vekhorst.
I'm sure he'll be mentioned plenty during the.
Messi's probably not happy right now. Kimura Bobo. Kimura Bobo. That's what he'd probably say. Messi.
Yeah, maybe. Well, there we go. So that's the wrap. That's the show. Games kick off tomorrow. The rest of the games today, we've got the Villa game still 1-0 to Aston Villa with that Leon Bailey goal. Rest of the games updates you'll be able to get on our Twitter page. I believe that's goal service is still going on. But also,
it should be tomorrow, yes.
Yeah, but also you do have our WhatsApp group where you will get some updates as well. So yes, hope you all enjoyed the show. Thank you for watching. We will be back on Monday as things stand. If things change, we will obviously let you know. Keep an eye on our social channels. We will be back on Monday to hopefully review any potentially, anything that happens. Maybe Vekhorst will be watching from the stands, from the bench. You never know. Abdi might have a heart attack out of excitement, but we'll see.
Hey, listen, all top my weekend. If we win the derby, Vekhorst is here. Happy days.
I'll set your homework, Abdi. Can you get Vekhorst on the show? Tell him who's biggest fan. I mean, if Vekhorst comes on the show, I think you will literally just spontaneously combust.
Probably, yeah.
Starstruck by Vekhorst. So yes, let's go through the usual malarkey now. Abdi, on the Twitter, socials, or wherever you want to be found, where can you be found?
Yes, if you like to listen to me ramble anymore, you can follow me on the Twitter machine at aabdullahi26, at AABDULLAHI26.
Soon to be changed to at Abdi_Vekhorst. Nick, where can people find you on Twitter?
I am on Twitter at Nicholas Pages.
I am on Twitter. Can't remember the last time I actually posted. At Subsonics UK. That's SUBSONIX UK. And I believe producer Sam is also on Twitter. I think it's at Sam Wilson AFC with
the
one
I,
where the I is.
Yeah, one of the I is. That's the one.
Yeah, so thank you very much to the team. Thank you, Abdi. Thank you, Nick. Thank you.
You can follow us as well. Don't worry, at Golden Goal TV.
Yeah,
all the
follow
socials.
our Golden Goal TV. We've got WhatsApp, we've got Twitter, we've got the Facebook group, we've got the lot.
Yes.
And of course, we will be back with another new producer on our team on Monday. So yeah,
wait, I don't even know this, but okay.
You've not? I'm not sure. I'm glad to know that our management pays attention to the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Listen, I pay attention to the important stuff. I'm here.
Yeah, you pay attention. It's all. Listen, I'm getting jealous here. Stop following Vekhorst. Follow us. Listen. Yes. So new producer coming on board. Vekhorst is producing for us on Monday.
Let's go.
See you all. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that bell to receive notifications, because why wouldn't you want that? Have a good, very much good Premier League weekend. If you're watching the NFL playoffs, do enjoy as well.
Come on, United. Come on, the Cowboys. Let's go.
Come on, United. Let's not go for the Cowboys. I don't want the racists doing anything. Right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, producer Sam. You may now end the show.